Today we attempt a 1.6 kilometer dive into the mighty Gouffre de Cabouy, a hidden river beneath the hills of southern France. But can we capture this entire journey in one shot and make it back? Let's find out in today's episode on the DiveSAGA channel. This episode has been shot on the Insta360 X5. Stay tuned to find out how you can get your own Insta360 camera. The Lot region in southern France is world-renowned for its excellent cave diving. One such cave system that runs under these hills, valleys and castles is 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐫𝐢 de Luis, a 6-kilometer network as seen here, mapped by the Hidden River project. A hidden river indeed, that eventually emerges in the Gouffre de Cabouy, the cave with the largest water flow in the region. It's maybe worth knowing that normally in the winter, when the source is spewing, all of this is full of water. You can see now the water level is rather low, but in winter the water is literally rushing over this wall, and this is one giant pond. So it's quite receded right now. So obviously that'll have an influence on the average depth of the cave. So we'll have to see what that means for our dive plan. But that also makes it a little bit exciting. Le Gouffre de Cabouy is not always diveable in summer, so we want to leverage this unique opportunity to cover as much ground as we can. 1.6 kilometers or 5,250 feet and back to be exact. But that poses a unique problem. Usually I pick a designated spot in the cave, where I set up the camera, we stage some lights and then coordinate for some models to swim by. But if we want to cover 1.6 kilometers in distance to show the true scope of le Reseau de Luis, then even in a 2.5-hour dive, there simply won't be enough time to stop and stage and clean up. So, as always, we give priority to a safe dive plan, while I expand on a previously used method to capture the adventure: 360 cameras mounted on diver propulsion vehicles. In previous episodes, we showed how exploration diver Mikko Pasi used the Insta360 X4 to produce 3D photogrammetry maps of the Boyai mines in Thailand. In our episode about 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿 de Reseau, I scaled this up by using an Insta360 X5 in pure video mode. This new camera, with two 1/1.28-inch sensors and triple AI chip, is extremely light sensitive. So I think we can get away with very minimal lighting setups and capturing our entire journey on the fly.
So we're putting the invisible selfie stick onto the DPV, very steadily secured. We have the underwater housing, and of course we're going to insert the X5 360 camera.
That's the plan, to capture this dive as if the camera and you, the viewer, as a member of the team on one continuous dive.
Let me know what you think of the results, and if you would like to get your own Insta360 X5, you can absolutely do so via the link below, and it helps the DiveSAGA channel. I also want to thank Insta360 for continuously supporting the DiveSAGA channel. I'm super grateful for that.
Maybe the coolest thing about this dive site is if you follow the now dry riverbed, then you get to these ruins here of what I must assume is maybe where an old mill was. But yeah, this is How amazing is this? Look at that. Again, it's one of my favorite things when scuba diving and history meet each other, because there's so much of our history that's just sort of underwater that we don't normally get to access. How special is this? So amidst these beautiful ruins around the Gouffre de Cabouy, we prepare and get everything set up for one long dive. If you're a loyal viewer of the DiveSAGA channel, then you know that I'm a sucker for picturesque dive sites. While I'm gearing up, I'm gonna tell you guys about my new favorite dive product. It's not a sponsorship, it's not in any way an endorsement, but I picked this up like a few weeks ago and I absolutely love this. It's this Hauberk Undersuit. It's Ukrainian made, and what's cool about it is that it has built-in heating and it even has a dual circuit. So you hook this up to a battery, but there's literally a double circuit in there. So if one fails, the other one can be switched during the dive. For long dives like this, I think that's pretty good to have. And yeah, we never really talk about redundant heating, right? If your heating fails during a long dive, having heating to get out is pretty key. So it's not a sponsorship, but I really like it, so I want to give these guys a shout out. Now it's time to focus so we can gear up and get our heads into the dive plan. Our team of 3 is all diving the Kiss Sidewinder rebreather, a side-mounted rebreather that offers around 4 hours of dive time in these conditions. The water is about 14 degrees Celsius, so with our dry suits, Sidewinder, side-mount cylinders, scooters and the camera, there is a lot of equipment to manage. We descend through the green, murky water of the pond and do our final checks before the team gives the okay. In cave diving, a circular motion with the primary dive light means okay. Are you ready? Let's go. The Gouffre de Cabouy is rather silty, so especially with scooters, it's key to keep parallel to the cave floor and not cause any excessive silt disturbances. We of course stay directly on top of the cave line, a line that, in case of Cabouy, has had many repairs done. The extreme pressure of the water flow in winter, combined with the sharp edges of the rocks, often causes the line to snap. When traveling by scooter, which is usually faster than swimming, it's especially important that the team keeps their focus on the line and ensures that it is still uninterrupted. Should there have been any repairs, we would need to stop and verify that the repair is solid. It's worth mentioning though that we have dived this section a few days earlier to check the conditions and the state of the line. As fun as diving with scooters can be, it's also a very fast way to get into trouble, so every aspect of the dive is planned in detail, including communication protocols, speed, and waypoints in the cave that need to be hit at certain times. One such waypoint is a small cenote that we noticed on the map and we confirmed via Google Earth. From Gouffre de Cabouy, it should be exactly 782 meters or 2,560 feet to Gouffre de Pou Meyssen, where an exit is possible in case of an emergency. But we're not there yet. We have just reached the halfway point to this cenote, 400 meters or 1300 feet into the cave, a quarter into the way in, so we mark our exit side and get back on our scooters. Cruising through epic tunnels and canyons, we eventually reach our second waypoint, le Gouffre de Pou Meyssen, the so-called cenote. Here too, we need to confirm and mark our exit side, but the line is loose. It's not uncommon for many caves in this area to have extra line on certain dive points. This helps in simplifying line repairs if needed, so we secure our line marker and clean up the loose line before proceeding deeper into the cave. From here on, we are in new territory. As mentioned earlier, we had confirmed the state of the line and the accessibility of the cenote on a previous dive. But going forward, we have to pay extra close attention to the quality of the line and the cave. This part of the cave is less frequented and seemingly a lot more silty too. It's almost impossible to keep the camera housing clean from the floating particles hitting the dome. The line has a brownish color from its time in the water and from those same silt particles, so it's a bit harder to see. Cruising in this new section of the cave almost brings us into a meditative state, checking the line, checking our speed, checking our partial pressure and monitoring the time. In some areas, the ceiling is hard to see and it almost feels like we are flying through canyons in outer space. While I definitely don't want to diminish the effort it takes to become an astronaut, I imagine it must feel something like this, or at least this is as close as I'll ever get to that feeling in this lifetime. And I hope you're enjoying this ride as well. We're now a bit over an hour into the dive and have successfully worked our way from Gouffre de Pou Meyssen to the 1600 meter 5250 foot mark, our planned turning point. We take note of our environment, check the status of our devices, take some notes for future reference, and turn the dive. As per our dive plan, we increase the speed of our DPVs for the way out. We are a long way from home. And as we cruise back through the hidden river, I do my best to imagine the landscape overhead. It's crazy to realize that we are flying through million-year-old waterways under 1,000-year-old villages. What a time to be alive. I don't think I'll ever get over this feeling. Time for some dessert. Before cleaning up the marker at the Gouffre de Pou Meyssen, we decide to check out this so-called French cenote. This is just a really small pond that connects to the cave system, but nevertheless it's fun to explore. It's a pretty murky affair, but since there is a fixed climbing rope installed, it's easy enough to navigate. The slippery entrance slope doesn't look like it would make for an easy entry or exit, and our camera isn't much of a fan of the muddy water either. Either way, it's fun to see what this dot on the map looks like from the surface. Time to finish the dive, as we still have 800 meters to go. Of course, by standing around in the cenote, we caused a bit of a mudslide into our dive path. Luckily, we can use the pre-installed line to make a blind entry and find our marker. Once back on the main system line, we cruise the remaining 800 meters 2,500 feet to Gouffre de Cabouy, where we make a few cautionary stops on the way up and out. After 2.5 hours and 3.2 kilometers or 2 miles of diving, it definitely feels good to surface in the sunlight.
Guys, what a dive! What a dive! Super cool. Super cool. I think maybe my favorite. I'm not sure. Definitely solid top 10 for this year. 100%.
Guys, I hope you liked the footage, and remember that you can always pick up your own Insta360 X5 via the link below. You get a discount and it helps the DiveSAGA channel. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.